Good evening and welcome to All for United, the WFC show with me, Matt Crane. Tonight we are paying tribute to Jess Sigsworth, who was recently announced as our first departed player yesterday for, obviously, the season just finished. I am joined tonight by Ben, by Gareth, and in a short time, Natalie. Gareth, how are we?
Yeah, good, thank you. We were expecting these moments to come for a while, and they're finally here. Said last week there'd been no movement by United, and lo and behold, it's begun.
Absolutely, a couple of bashing of the club tweets, and here we are. Ben, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you, pal?
Yeah, not bad, pal. Counting down the days now till the summer holidays. Not doing too bad with that. So I'm sure, like Gareth, we're absolutely looking forward to and begging for a break, so to speak. So yeah, gonna get into it then. Obviously, like you mentioned, Jess was the first player announced by the club who is leaving. Evening, John. He's on full name terms here. Not sure what's going on there. And evening to other John as well. So obviously, like we said yesterday, 5 o'clock, club gave us the first out of the season, which was Jess. I suppose, like Gareth said, the ball is now rolling. It's the first of a few departures. Some of us knew it was coming. Some people may have been shocked. I suppose it depends, sort of, whereabouts you've sort of been reading your news or listening. But I'm gonna start off first with reading the sort of statement from Jess out. So she's put, "I've enjoyed every single second with Man United. It's been an absolute pleasure to represent this badge over the past 3 years. And I've also been honoured to play for the club I've always supported as a little girl." She then goes on to say, "Thank you to Casey Stoney for the opportunity, the memories and the moments that will last a lifetime. Playing for the club has been the biggest highlight of a football career and the biggest highlight of a life. Thank you to my amazing teammates who have made the journey the best. You are the strongest, most courageous, relentless and selfless group of people I know. I've been so lucky to work alongside you all day in, day out. Thank you, Manchester, for the memories, the lessons, the highs and the lows. I leave with friends for life and also a better player in person." And then she goes on to thank the fans. "So thank you to the incredible fans. You've been nothing short of fantastic. I will miss you all. Stick behind our girls and our champions." So with that said, I'm going to sort of start with you, Gareth, then. Just sort of, obviously we'll get into sort of specific highlights, but just talk me through sort of the news yesterday. Surprised, expected it. So where were you on that?
I expected it, to be honest. I think there's a number of names that we expect to see leave this summer, and I think quite a few of the names on that list are going to be ones that we have an attachment with, because I think it's going to come down to quite a few of the original 21 going. So I kind of came to terms with this as a departure sort of a few weeks ago, as when the season finished. I think what I will say about Jess is it's obvious that she's a United fan. You can tell that from the way that she plays. Now, that could just be who she is as a player. I didn't really watch her at Donny at all. But you can see from the effort and the intensity that she delivers on the pitch that she's a fan of the club and is playing for the club and playing for the shirt. I just think that we have got to a point now where we're looking to go to the next level. And if we're being brutally honest, I don't think Jess is going to get an awful lot of game time when we get to that level. And she wants to play. And those two things aren't going to happen. Jess isn't going to get the minutes that she wants. If she was happy to sit and play as a bench player, then, would be more than happy to keep her here. But I don't think that's what she wants. And the least we can do as a club to the players that have delivered for us, and she absolutely has, especially in that first season, is let them go if they want minutes. So I think that's going to be what it came down to. I think potentially Casey going may have had an impact on this, but I don't think that'll be a huge amount because, if we believe what the club have said, the outs were Casey's outs. So, yeah, it's a shame. It'll be a shame to see her go, but wherever she does go, and there's a rough idea of where that'll be. She'll do well. She'll score goals. She'll work hard, and they've got a hell of a player who's going to go in and work their fingers to the bone for that club.
And Benny, obviously, I know you briefly sort of went into this, didn't you, yesterday on John's show, but do you just want to add to what Gareth said then, in terms of, Jess as a player and sort of the news yesterday?
Yeah, well, I think I agree with Gareth. It was to be expected. We've heard rumours all throughout the last few months that there's going to be X, Y, and Z leaving. Jess was one of them, and it kind of surprised me a little bit, but it didn't surprise me on the other half, because I think Jess is one of those players that needs game time. She needs match time and match sharpness to be at her very, very best, to be at a clinical best. And I think over the last couple of seasons of the WSL, she's not really been getting as much game time she probably would have liked. I'm a bit gutted she's leaving, to be fair. She's one of the, as Gareth said, she's one of the OG 21. You don't want to lose the originals that have been there since day one, but inevitably, time is going to roll on, and there's going to be a time when there's not going to be very many left. As we evolve as a football club and evolve as a team. That being said, I wish her all the very, very, very best, as we all do. We've got, as Gareth said, we've got a rough idea where she probably is going, but I don't want to say so until it's made official. But I tell you now, Mount, whoever it is that she is going to, let's put it this way, they're getting one hell of a centre forward, one hell of a number 9. And it'd just be nice to see her score goals again, because that's what her game's all about, scoring goals. And I think at times for United, she's been asked to be to do the to work hard for the team by going out on the right hand side, to sacrifice her game, which is a manager's dream in a way. But I do think it, from a selfish point of view, for Jess Sigsworth, and I said it plenty of times on previous shows, I'd have been banging on that man on Casey's door, saying, "Listen, I'm a number 9. Let me get goals for you. Let me be a bit more selfish in that respect." But listen, she's an absolute manager's dream, as I said. Like, if she's been asked to play out on the right, she's not whined, she's not moaned. When she's not been selected, she's not kicked up a fuss or kicked up a stink. She's been very, very professional throughout. And when the time has come, when she's not been playing too much game time or not having too many chances, she's come off the bench or she's in the starting 11, and she's always given her absolute all. And that's all we can ask as fans. So, as I said, I wish her well and good luck for the future.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if Matt's Wi-Fi is playing up again. As people know.
Listen, I don't know if he's going to jump in, but I'm devastated. Like, obviously devastated. I said it.
Evening, Natalie. We've just sort of been rounding up, reacting to the news. So obviously, we've had Ben and Gareth just kind of say, pretty much similar, that we probably expected her to leave for the good of her. But just sort of, what were your thoughts on her?
Yeah, I was just saying, I'm devastated. I expected her to leave, but devastated. Look, million. Jess, this is the original T. I think you designed it, Ben, and that's the kind of thing. She always come over, always had time, always celebrated like mad. I'm happy / devastated. I'm happy that she's going to a good club, but I'm devastated, because she's my favourite player. She's my number 1, and I know we big up Jackie and Honor and Tooney and this, but Jess was the start, was the first one, was the player that I remember, when we played Reading and I was just singing on my own. She's the one who's like, I've heard you singing and all this. And yeah, I remember when me and Ben went to Palace and in a car, and she came out, and I gave her a massive hug, and it's like the third game that I've ever been to, and she gave me a hug back and was like, "Oh, thanks so much for coming. Oh my God, I can't believe you come." And I was like, "You changed the game," and just we're buzzing, all three of us together, you know, like all of us together, and just that's the kind of thing. And I don't think she realizes the impact that she's had on all of us in a way. You know what I'm saying, Ben, Gareth? She's really is the reason, and I say that I don't say that about every player, but she is part of the reason why I watch women's football, and you know it's for the best. I'm happy. I heard Ben saying going to get game time, but yeah, she's my everything, my world. That's how I say it. And it sounds a bit cheesy, doesn't it, when I'm going on this deep and like you know, like it's bloody remembering her or something. But it is like that. That's how it feels in my heart, in my emotions. Are you back with us, Matt?
Yeah. Yep. Sorry, I didn't. You know what? I never even realised it froze. I just sat listening to you. Yeah, so we've all sort of summarised. Like you say, sort of feelings, you know, for Jess, and I think, you know, I'm pretty much with sort of what Ben was saying. You know, I think she for what she did for us in those 3 years, she fully deserves game time, and I think sort of last season, you know, and the season just finished, she maybe didn't get as much game time as she would have liked. For me, I think it was harsh because I think, you know, like Ben said, she was put out on the right, and we all know what she brings to the team: hard work, commitment, and goals. And she's a nightmare to defend against because of her pace. And I only think back to that run against Arsenal to set 2-0 up. So I think in that respect, you know, I feel a little bit disappointed maybe for her because, like I say, you know, from whenever I've watched her play, every single week has been 100% effort, 100% committed. You know, she's not backing out of tackles. She's running and running and running, whether it's minute 1 or minute 90. And yeah, you know, I think it's like Ben said, she does need minutes ultimately. And I think it's only fair that, you know, she does get those minutes that she deserves. Sadly won't be with us. And, you know, we talked about her being sort of an original, part of the original 21. And it's always difficult as fans because, you know, I was having this conversation earlier that, you know, because it's the original 21 and they've sort of started with us on this journey. And when the club was first established, you know, it is quite hard, no matter who it is, seeing those sort of players go. I'm going to sort of move it on and sort of, you know, put a few stats out there first. And then I'm going to ask you to sort of share your memories. So I think the first sort of stats that we associate with Jess is 5 goals in the Villa away game in the 12-0 win. And I think for me, that was sort of when maybe people that hadn't seen her or didn't sort of, you know who she was pre-United would have been sort of aware of Jess. You know, I think back to how many times, you know, 1, we'd get a 12-0 win, and 2, you'd likely to see a forward get 5 goals in a game. I think is very rare. She's our 3rd all-time top goal scorer, behind Tooney and LJ. She got 26 goals for us in 66 games, and that included 13 assists as well. Golden Boot winner in season 1, 2018-19. And also, you know, like a lot of the comments have talked about, you know, a fan's favourite. I think what sticks out for me in terms of that fan's favourite is, 1, you see so many people with a name on the shirt. I think the second thing is as well, there's a lot of children idolise Jess. There really is. You know, I think back, I think, Natalie, you know Lacey, don't you? It's been one of Jess's mascots. Just other people I've spoken to, and that, you know, obviously we've all spoken to. I know there's a lot of parents, and they say, you know, oh, who's your child's idol? And it's always Jess. John says he's got her on the shirt. So she impacts not only children, but adults too. And I think that's nice because she does give a lot to fans, whether it's after a game, whether it's on social media, you know, chatting to people, taking pictures. And I think that's what fans like. She's very, very sort of down to earth and relatable. And I think, you know, that she does give a lot back. Again, that could be community based, but there is a lot of sort of adults, like I say, whose children literally adore Jess, and it's pleasing to see. So I'll start with you, Ben, sort of memories of Jess. And if you want to put in a favourite goal as well, you can do, or goals.
Mate, I was looking back at it today, mate, just to refresh myself, refresh my memory. a little bit, you know. And I've noticed how similar she is to Van Nistelrooy. I don't like comparing players, but every single goal is near enough in that 6-yard box. I'm thinking that's exactly what we've been missing, really, a clinical 6-yard box striker. And part of me was thinking, oh, she just got a chance a little bit more up front in that, you know. And we were looking, we had our delivery pinpointed a little bit better. How more clinical she would have been, you know, instead of having to play her out on the right and doing that thing, you know, doing that, you know, being that team player for Casey, you know, going out on the right and, you know, sacrificing, like I said before, a position. I'm just think that, you know, that little bit of, you know, little part of me is thinking, why didn't we lose her as a centre forward, that number 9, that, you know, a little bit more than what we did. But enough of that. I'm just going to look at them goals, mate. A lot of them goals, even against City, when we beat them 2-0 at LSV, with the ball in from Hansen, bang, she's in that 6-yard box again, and it's in the back of the net. And that's all I remember about it, is everything was in that 6-yard box. Everything went in the back of the net. Especially the championship season when we went on to win the women's championship. She said she was golden boot. She grabbed the golden boot that season, and that really sticks out in the memory for me more than anything that season. Because as I keep saying, that season it'll take a lot to top that season. But I always take away just how clinical she was in the box. You know, a fox in the box, if you like, as a good football, the old footballing term that's always associated with strikers that always score within the 6-yard box. But listen, and I echo your words. She's like a humble person, down to earth, always made time for the fans, especially Natalie as well. There was a special bond there. That famous picture, I think, was it by James Boyce, by the way? That famous picture of you. Yeah, that will always stick in the memory, that one. That's and I said to Nat at the time, that's probably the most famous picture of any single picture that's ever been taken from the women's team. That unique bond between Nat and Siggy. And that's what I take away from that as well. Just that unique bond between Natalie and Jess was absolutely brilliant to see, because they both took to each other like ducks to water, you know, and that's what I'll always take. That's what I'll always take away from me, you know, just seeing that smile beaming when she got that hug, you know, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about for me, you know. Fans connecting with players connecting with fans, and having that sort of relationship there. And I think Jess was always the one that took it to the next level. You know, she always looked out for us, especially, and that could never be taken away. So when she does move on, I think Natalie hinted on this yesterday. At some point next season, when United don't have a fixture, or we're not playing on the same day as Leicester, or wherever she goes to, Leicester, or wherever it may be. I almost said it slipped there. I did say earlier, I don't want to say the team, but wherever it may be, wherever she may end up, you know that a lot of us will go down there and watch her, you know, to say hi to her, and I'm sure she'll be grateful for the support and, you know, to see our faces again. Or she might be going, oh, good God, it's them again.
Yeah, I've got rid of them now.
I'm not going to play.
But that's
the noise.
Yeah.
That's what I'll take away from it. Anyway, I'll let Nat speak, because Nat's what brings me for her.
Sorry, Gareth. Sorry, I'm just cutting it in, but that picture, just making me think back to it, Ben. And it's actually like, I'm not crying, but that's how it's feeling, making me in like my stomach like tense up, because that picture, like you say, when it took it, I didn't realise it was Eve was even there looking at us. I just remember we won that game. She was sort of instrumental in scoring that goal. She passed it through to Lauren. I know Lauren scored both goals, but, you know, she was there always linking. That first season, her and Lauren were linking. That was really good link-up play that they had. And I feel like Lauren would just go anywhere, and Jess would always move around her, you know, rather than like, I'm the 9. It would be like Lauren would do what she's doing, and Jess would always feed off her, either get the second ball for her or pass it through to Lauren. Always selfless. always thinking of the team. And that picture, when James Boyce took it, I think probably everyone knows the picture. It's been my WhatsApp picture since like 2019. It's been different pictures. You know, when he took it, it was like, just like I saw her on the halfway line and I saw her walking towards me, and Deborah was saying, she's coming for you, Natalie, she's coming for you. I'm like, no, she'll come to everyone. And it's like, no, you and her. And it was just that kind of, she just walked straight into my arms, like I had my arms out, and she walked straight into them, and it was just like, yes, we've done it. Because I think that was the second time we'd beaten a WSL club. And I remember that night when that picture came out, I actually, I don't know if you were at this game, Matt, but I think you were, Ben. Yeah, you were. I remember I put it on the Instagram or whatever, and she liked it, retweeted it, and then followed me back, and I was like, she's following me back. And then I remember I think it was that same day we saw the players in the service station. I think it was it that one, Ben?
I think it was.
I think so. And I was jumping out of the car, like, let me out. I think it was that day. And they was reversing the car, and I was like, get me out of this car now, because there's Jess. And like I saw her in the middle of the services, and all the players were there at Costa or wherever. They were doing their thing, and Jess was just in the middle. I just went like that again, just gave her a massive hug, and I was like, that picture's sick of it. And she's like, yeah. And it's just like, that's what it is. And I know, like you said, Lacey, and I know there's other kids that have like really special bonds, I'm sure. And I think she makes it special for every kid who goes and bees her mascot, and has followed her or supports her or wants to be a striker, talks to him. And I'm sure that's sort of a great feeling for her to have like kids idolize you. But like what John says, it's adults as well. It's me. I idolize. I'm older and I idolize her because I think she's such a great person. I'm like, it's like a bloody, eulogy. It's not like that, but it is just really emotional in my heart. But I just want to touch again on what Ben says, and I'll let Gareth have his full say. But that City goal, when she scored it, she was like us that day. She was like, woy, jumping up in front of the City. And I just thought, yes, that's my girl. And I always look back at that goal and the way that she's jumping up in front of them, and the way she's jumping on people when we scored, and I just thought, yeah, she's a red. That's what I like. That's what I love.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that picture. Do you know what? I was there. If it's Charlton, I'm sure it was Charlton away.
There's that one as well. There's a different one. There's two, but there's a one that's more with. Yeah, go on.
Because I remember, the Charlton one. Robert was saying he wanted commission. Shout out if he's watching, because he I think he was right next to you. And you said, it's on your WhatsApp picture, it's on T-shirts, it's on mugs, it's on the merch. So it's, like you say, it's quite an iconic picture, actually. But like I say, obviously, I think, in terms of that was one. I know, like I say, you mentioned you had two. I think the Charlton one for me was probably, as iconic as well, because that was close to winning the league. But Gareth, do you want to sort of summarise memories? And then we'll go into goals and things like that.
Yeah, so I think for me, I can remember exactly where I was for that Villa glut, I think is a technical term for 5 goals. I was umpiring a cricket game, and I cannot tell you a single thing about that cricket game, other than there was AstroTurf outside the boundary, so if the ball went, it went for miles. But I remember coming off for tea, I think, and I checked my phone to see what the score was, and it was 12-0. And I remember that day for that reason, and absolutely nothing to do with the actual thing that I was doing. And I think I'll always remember that, because it was that real statement, that game. And, other players scored that game, but we don't remember, I know LJ got goals that game and other players do, but that Villa game is Jess's 5-goal glut. And that was a real statement then, that we weren't going to go into the championship and build for a year. We're going to that championship to absolutely tear it apart. And, you look at Villa last season, Villa, the COVID curtailed season, were a really strong side, and we absolutely demolished them. So I think Jess was that kind of standout that, this is this is good, and I want to be a part of this. I'd already bought the season ticket, but couldn't make it down to. In fact, didn't really do many away days in that first season, but it was that real kind of standout. I want to be a part of this, and this is going to be a good season. And then, like I said earlier on, and people have said in the comments as well, we loved Jess because you could tell that Jess was a fan. So she kind of rode that journey with us, both as a player, but also as a fan. And I know there are other players as well that have come through the academy and that are fans of the club, but I don't think there was really any of the others that kind of wore that nature of being a fan of the club as much as Jess did. And you could tell with all the celebrations of the goals and everything that came with that, just how much, A, Jess loved playing for United, and B, just how much the team loved playing with Jess as well. So, yeah, I think wherever she ends up next season is going to be great for them. They've got a player that's going to score goals and is going to work hard. And, yeah, she'll be missed. I think she's going to create... there's going to be a gap left, definitely. And, I know that we'll replace her, and she wasn't happy to just sit on the bench. And we'll probably get somebody in that is happier to do that. And it's like they, sometimes I think if you really care about something, you've got to let them go. And I think Jess is an example of that. She wanted to play, and if we're going to really push on for the title in the Champions League, we're going to need to improve. And it's not fair to keep Jess sat on the bench, whether that's whether you think rightly or wrongly whether she had chances or didn't have enough. It's not fair to do that. And so, I think it's a good move from both parties. But, yeah, there'll definitely be a number 9 shaped hole in that attack.
Absolutely. And I think pretty much that sort of covers that question there, why she went. I think it's purely down to game time. From my point of view, I think my memories, obviously, I'd seen little bits of her prior to United. And I think what was great about, like I mentioned earlier, is just her sheer work rate. You've all talked about her being a big United fan, and obviously that will play a part in her wanting to impress. But I think I've never seen a player work so hard, literally. And I don't mean any disrespect to sort of the other players. I'm not saying they don't work hard, but literally every single ball chased down, every single run, her strength, just everything about her for me. And, since season 1, she's been one hell of a player. You only have to see the comments left on her Instagram and her Twitter from fans and players, and every single one, talks massively highly. And I think, whoever comes in next season will have, a bit of a void to fill, with that number 9 shirt. But I want to sort of jump to you, Nat, because I know obviously you've not got too long left with us. But I want to sort of cast your mind back to the first time you actually met Jess. So likely after a game, unless it was before a game, just maybe talk us through that, and then obviously chuck in, I know you mentioned Man City earlier, chuck in any favourite goals, whether that's 1, 2, 3. Just take it away with that.
The first time I met her was the Reading game. We lost. I remember watching her though, and I think Alex was pumping them crosses in, and Jess hit the post twice. And it was just a couple of us from Old Trafford that sometimes come now and then, probably not as dedicated to the women's team as I am, but it was people who wanted to come to see how it was. We had 5,000 that day, and we were singing at the back and this and that. And I saw Jess and went, and I didn't understand women's football back then. Didn't understand that you could go up and get pictures and do this. I just sort of walked down to the front and I saw loads of kids, and I just thought, all right, it must be something that they're doing or something. And I sort of said, oh, well done, you played well. Don't worry, next time you'll score them posts. You did really well. Don't give up and all this. He went, really, thanks. And I heard you singing at the back. And I went, oh, how do you know it was me? I said, I just know. And then it's like, yeah, keep doing that. Or, see you again next time. And obviously, it wasn't in my head that I was going to go to the Villa game. It was just then another guy who said, "Oh, I missed that game and it looked good and it sounded like you had a good time. I'll drive us to Villa." So I was like, yeah, okay. And then, bang, 5 goals. You know, it's a hat trick by half time, too late. And I was like, that's my good. That's the one that I said. That's the one. And I think I just started this little song for her. And that was it. I'd probably say, yeah, those 5 goals, because it was like, I told you she'd score all them goals. And I think then some of the other ones, obviously the City, that celebration, that was mega. But I like the Spurs goal. She always got a goal against Spurs. She always, you know, I remember when we played Spurs at LSV in the first season, and I was nervous going into that just because, again, I didn't really know about this part-time, full-time. I just knew we were in a good position, but Spurs were top. And she got a big header that started it off, and I think she made an assist to LJ and all this. So, like I said, when I was watching her, it was always, like I say, when I say selfless, it was, you know, right wing, and I know we talked about that, but it was always moving about, always there, always pressing. So I think for me, yeah, I think even, like I said, Palace away, scored a big goal there. We were 1-0 up, but we were really struggling in the first half, and probably not at our best. And then Jess came on and just sort of changed the game. And yeah, the assists are great too. And yeah, it's just, she's that kind of player that just like plays like how I would play. I'm not as talented. I couldn't kick a ball in a straight line, but you know, that's how it is when you watch Jess. You feel like you don't, you know, when I'm shouting, I feel like I'm giving you my energy and I want you to have this energy. But with Jess, I don't need you to have the energy. I feel like you give me the energy and still got some for yourself. So, you know, those are a few of the goals to stand out, you know, that I'd say. Like I said, the City celebration. She was all of us then, because I just remember there being like 2 or 3 City players, and she was just in the like how Paddy Everett did against in front of the Stretford end, and Suarez was walking past. It was Hemp and Steph, and she was just jumping up in her face, and it just. But that's what it meant, because she was a United fan, and it was our first game, second game. Well, first game at home against City. Bang, we've gone out there, beating them. Don't underestimate us. We're Man United. And like you said, that just gave the whole crowd a boost. And I even listened back to it on her Instagram, and just gave me tingles as well, just to listen to that roar and see everyone jump up. And, you know, it just makes it excited. And I mean, I know people are saying it's going to be weird seeing him in it. Of course it is. You know, probably wearing another number 9, and you know, scoring goals, and probably should just be as excited for them. But it's you know, I think she's grateful. We're grateful that she's someone like that, fan, passionate, who give everything. But yeah, it's sort of like that time now, and because we wanted to, it's like we're in love with her, like we're having divorce, but it's not. We still love her no matter what. And you know, if you want someone to do best, if you love someone, you'll let them go. And, you know, it's so weird that I'm talking about football like this, but she's made me talk like this about it. And, God, I'd give her she doesn't know how much she's impacted me. And I'm a nearly a 30-year-old woman, and that's how much she's impacted me.
To be fair, I think she's got a rough idea. I'm pretty sure I'd be shocked if she didn't know how much she had impacted. But I remember you talking about games then, and I think another thing that stuck out for me was the Tottenham away game when she got kicked in the head and still carried on with a bandage and still scored.
Yeah.
I think for me that just sums up the person. You know, she would never ever give in, and I think, you know, to you know, it was quite a nasty cut as well. You know, bandaged up, carried on, scored the goal, and that was pretty much, you know, promotion / the league done. You know, sums up a character. Gareth, have you got a favourite goal or goals? I know seeming like the City one's quite popular at the minute, but is there any that stick out for you?
No, like I say, I think that my overarching sort of memory from Jess is the work rate and the golden boots, rather than individual moments. It's that overall contribution. I think it's easier with, to use Lizzie Arnott for an example from last season, to think of one standout goal. Whereas I think with Jess, I think it's her overall contribution for me that really sticks out, and that work rate, and wherever you put her in the front sort of four, whether that was just behind the striker or on the right or up front, or I think occasionally she came on the left, wherever she was asked to do, she did it and worked hard and got results. I think, again, I can't remember when it was, but just if there's a long ball and you think probably a lost cause, Jess would run and chase it down, and she'd try and keep it on. And I think a lot of other players would have left it and dropped back to regroup and whatnot. So I think that for me is my memory of Jess. And I think whoever comes in to replace her, I think what we really want to see is work rate, and we really want to see just players that come in and work until they literally cannot work anymore. That's what I want to see, and that's what I'm going to remember Jess for. No wonder Adidas used to send so many boots, because she must have got through loads and loads of miles in them. So, yeah.
It's interesting, actually, speaking of boots, Natalie. Are yours behind you there on the wall, I can see?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Even, when pretend, it sounds funny, it's going back to, what we were talking about, but pretend I, I've moved house a couple of times, so obviously I'll go take my boot down and then put it up and I say, oh, home now, boom, take a picture. And somehow she always sends a like or a love heart or this, or, if I'm saying match day ready and I don't tag her, and it's just her shirt, it's always love hearts and thank you so much for the support. And that's why I think, like what Ben says, if we do go down to wherever she is, even if it's just hit us here, John, or a couple of or less or more, she will, because, this is why I was probably even more upset, because, like I said on last show, COVID, we're not seeing them. So it makes it even, I don't know what I'm going to say special, but in that more sort of, I can't wait to see them. Yes, it's not going to be for us, but we're happy that she's doing well, and I'm happy with the alleged club that she's going to, because I know she'll get treated well, and that's what we all want for every player. Who's wanting to go to good clubs and do well and be looked after and be supported. Because now, in a way, we're not there to support them as how we did. So I want them to still be, supported well in terms of, she might not have the Barmy Army or the mad fans on the back row, but at least she's got good people in the club and that, and cheering her on in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you say, it's something that we do as fans. Whether you're out on loan or you used to play for us, or you're departing. I think, like you say, that support, when possible, does carry on, and it may not be in person, but it's certainly given online. If we can't make it, and I'll never forget that, actually, when you got those boots. I remember when she arrived and we was all queuing up to go in. I don't think I've ever seen Natalie as quiet in my life. She was just like, "Oh, I've got some boots. You can have these boots." And I was looking at Natalie, and Joe was on the floor, and it was just one of them. But again, that's something you don't tend to see it often. Never happens in the men's game, but I think that was certainly special. And again, it's just little things like this that people remember that makes Jess so great. Ben, I know we've gone slightly off topic, but I'm going to bring you in on your sort of favourite goals, or if you've got maybe a summary like Gareth works overall.
I think I said it before, mate. It's just everything in the 6-yard box, everything that she touched in that 6-yard box was going to the back of the net. And that's why, as I said, I'm a little bit disappointed to see her go, because that's the kind of clinicalness that we've been missing all season. And it's like, I just, sometimes you think, like I've said on previous shows, like I said earlier, she went and banged on Casey Stoney's door and said, "Listen, I'm your number 9. Play me up front. Let me get you the goals," But listen, mate, it's just been an absolute pleasure just watching her play football every single time that we've been down at LSV, every time we've been away from home. And it's just like, I think like Gareth said, it's just the overall that I take out of it all. The overall hard work rate, the overall dedication to the shirt. She wore the shirt with absolute pride. And as I said before, earlier on in the show, she never once moaned or complained when she was playing out of position or whether she was not selected or not. When she came off the bench or when she came back into the starting 11 after not getting much game time, she always gave her all. And that's all you can ask, That's all you can ask from somebody. Just give your all for your shirt till the very end. And I'll always be grateful for that, you know what I mean? And I always remember the first season, it was always like Jess Sigsworth. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the name Jess Sigsworth or somebody mentions Jess Sigsworth to you? Is that she scores goals? Because that first season, she won the Golden Boot. She scored goals, and there was that chant as well. I adapted the post goals. He scores goals galore to she scores goals galore to Jess Sigsworth. I don't think it quite worked very well because, but even though I gave it a try, but there was definitely a better chance out there for her. Natalie's chance was always great, for Jess Sigsworth. She's one of the few players that had 3 or 4 different chants at times. There was always an adaptation of something in there with Jess's name, and it just goes to show how popular that she is. That she always will be. She'll always get a good reception when she comes back to LSV. There's no doubt about that, no question about that, and I think, people will always respect her for what she's done for Manchester United. And I think, and with Natalie, though, it's a shame that COVID has come on and absolutely knackered everything up, man, because, at the end of this season, it'd have been great to know that, you're kind of getting the vibe that she's probably going to go. You know what I mean? It'd be great to have that goodbye, like a goodbye type of thing. At LSV, for the last game of the season. I know we kind of did outside the ground. We said goodbye to Casey, but it's just a shame that there wasn't a game that we could have gone to that everybody could have said their goodbyes to. People that they would have gone, and Casey herself, but I just echo what everybody else has said. I think she's a top professional, a top person, and it's those down to earth people that you always gravitate towards the most. You always start to see them go the most because they're the most honest people in life, and wherever she's going next, they're getting an absolute extremely good player, an extremely good human being. And I hope wherever she goes, the fans take to her like we took to her, and I'm sure they will. And as I said earlier, and as Natalie said, and as a few mentioned, when United are not playing and we've got that free day and we were all jumping in cars or whatever, go down and watch her. I'm sure she'd be grateful to Natalie's loud voice before we go to the turnstiles to be like, "Oh, Nat's here." So I'm sure she should be grateful for that. Wherever she ends up, just always remember, any player that leaves, wherever you end up, we always give you support. Even if we can't get down there, we'll always give you a shout on social media. Good luck. Wish them all the best, everything. And as I said, when she comes back to LSV, be prepared, Jess Sigsworth, for an absolute uproar in people chanting your name, cheering you, clapping for you, because you mean everything to us. But I think Nat said in the private chat, it's like we sound like we're married to her. But it's true in a way because she touches you in the heart. It's she's one of those players that have always respected us. Even when things weren't going so well, we always got respect from them, and we always respected Jess back, and she always looked out for us. No matter where we were, she always looked out for us, and that's the one big thing I always take away is that respect that she has between us, and especially with Natalie, that respect, man, that just makes my day. I think John Foster put on Twitter the picture that we're talking about. So
yeah,
that's what I take away, mate. A particular standout goal was probably. People have mentioned the City and the Spurs goal. She always like to score, as you said, Matt, against Spurs. But for me, it's just her overall player, overall fox in the box attitude. Always getting that vital touch. Always getting that the goals for us. And I wish her all the best for the future. And just be prepared, Jess Sigsworth, when you come back to LSV or when we rock up wherever you are.
Yeah.
You're going to get the absolute love that you deserve and the send-off that you deserve. But because of the pandemic, we've not been able to give you. So just be prepared is all I'm going to say to her.
Natalie, I know you've got to shoot. You've got commitments,
thank you.
So thanks for joining us. I think it was only right.
Thanks, guys. Make sure you stay in the chat and keep putting your memories in of Jess. And, it's really actually touched me even more than yesterday when it happened, just talking about it. And I'm probably going to have a little cry now. But, yeah, see you later, boys. Thank you.
See you later.
I'll tell you what, she'll certainly be crying if the England result doesn't go our way.
England already qualified, haven't
they? We have, yeah, already qualified.
Shocking tournament, they're already qualified.
I know. But, it's nice to hear, though, obviously from Natalie, like you say, as a number one fan. But I think, for me, I think back, we've also talked about overall, but I think back to a goal that somebody's not mentioned, which is the West Ham one in the Conti Cup. I just remember that defender being absolutely bullied and sat down. Don't even know which defender it was, actually, but I do remember a great battle with that West Ham centre-half. Shoulder barge, they got the ball, stuck it in the back of the net, 2-0.
My memory of that goal is I didn't go and sit at the back with Barmiam at that point. So I was kind of sat further forward. And when that goal went in, all of you just turned around because Jack Sullivan was sat at the back just behind you. And you all just turned around and started giving him stick.
That would have been me, by the way, because he was my best friend for that night.
It's gone now as well.
I know he's gone as well. Everyone's coming.
Couldn't handle the banter. That's what it was, Ben. But no, I do. I think I'm convinced as well that defender actually got sent off as well. I think Jess absolutely bullied her, scored a goal, and I seem to remember getting sent off, and then getting like a 3-game ban, which was brilliant if you're a United fan, not so if you're that player or Jess. But I think West Ham for me, people have talked about the Arsenal run, which again Fortuni's goal was a highlight, and obviously the City one. I know Natalie spoke at that at length, but I think to be the first win against them, kept a clean sheet as well. And she just absolutely ran them ragged. Literally, they didn't get a minute's peace. And I think, like Nat said, I got a picture of the celebration, which she, we'll say, borrowed in inverted commas on her Instagram. And yeah, just running past the City players, sort of with heads down. I think that's something what you can't replicate it because obviously, like Nat said, and like you've all talked about, if you're not a United fan, it may not mean as much as if you were born and bred. And obviously, she's supported United since she was young. I know on her Twitter as well, and probably on her Instagram, she talked about the dream of playing at Old Trafford when that happened. So I think it's been great that, she's got to live her dream for 3 years. But for me, and I'm sure for both of you, and obviously Natalie talked about it as well, it's difficult that we haven't been able to say goodbye because the same happened last season as well. Obviously, that got cut short and players left last summer and we didn't get to wish them well, and players are sort of leaving this summer. And again, we're not getting to sort of wish them well, but just before we sort of wrap it, Ben, I know you don't like jumping the gun in terms of where they're going, but I'm going to ask you shortly anyway. I'm going to come to you guys. Rumours of going to Leicester to sort of, join them. If you were going to now introduce her to Leicester fans, apart from what we've just talked about, would there be anything that you'd maybe mention to them, sort of the type of person and player they were getting, or even maybe where she'd fit in that team?
Say where getting? Is he froze as well?
Is Gareth froze?
He's all right for me. No. You're fine for me.
Oh, right. I thought. Well, you just said for Gareth, and he's not answering your question.
No. Go on. I was going to let him speak about Leicester if she was going.
Oh yeah, you asked me. Oh, sorry. No, sorry. No, I thought you'd asked Ben. That's why I was sat silently. I thought you'd asked him. No, cool. Yeah, of course. No, sorry. Yeah. So what are Leicester getting? They're going to get a player that works really hard, and I think when you look at their front line, when you look at the players they've got, like Kane, Paul, Tasha as well likes to drop deep and bring other people in. So she's going to get a lot of support in terms of service there. So I think she'll score quite a few goals from that. I'd really like to see her and Tasha form a partnership. She's worked with Charlie before. She's linked up with Charlie before. So that will be a partnership that, can bear fruit as well. I think when you look potentially at the strikers, I think it means that some of them will be played out of position. I can't imagine that we're going to see Tasha, Paige, and Jess all play centrally all season. I think we'll likely see probably Paige maybe move out wider. I think that would be the one thing that I would say. If I jumped on the phone right now to Jono, what I would say is play her centrally. Don't play her out wide. Play her through the middle, get her to form that partnership with Tasha, and they'll both work really hard. We saw how hard Tasha worked for Leicester when she robbed that goal against us and put it in. She had sort of no right to score, and yeah, we know how hard Jess works. So I think if they all keep up their work, I think they're going to get tired. So it's going to be really good to be able to keep that 11 fresh and keep that squad fresh. And she's going to go there. She's going to score goals, and hopefully not too many against us. But a 1 goal and a 2-1 defeat, I'll give her
that. I can see so much coming, Ben, from you. You're probably sitting there thinking my days, but I think it's interesting experience, and they're gonna benefit from that. And I think, like we talked about at the start, it's going to benefit Jess. She gets the game. She's going to a great club. Probably got better facilities than us now, to be honest, as well. Looking at the state of our training ground, or lack of. But yeah, Ben, is there anything you want to add on that in terms of this potential rumoured move? Like I say, I know you hate linking people with.
No. What I want to say is, who's where? You were saying that Leicester's we and where. Leicester know where, man.
Did I?
I
don't think I did.
No, not.
I don't think.
It was Matt that said where. You know what I mean? I'm like, where is it? Like, you're Leicester fans. You two are Leicester fanboys. I tell you, not good enough, man. I'm disappointed.
Someone had to do it. Robert's not been in the comments today, so someone had to.
No. To be fair, all jokes aside, I think it's a top place for her to go. I think and it's assuming she's going there, but I'm gonna look a fool if she's not going there. But if she is going to Leicester, it's a top place for her to go to. And as you said, I think Matt, was it you that said about the facilities, or Gareth? I can't remember which one you just said about the facilities. I was more concerned about who the hell where is, but yeah. They've got top facilities there, Leicester City. As I say, it's a top football club. It's a well-run football club, and they're taking everything seriously, which is the way it should be done. And she will get well looked after there. And I think the fans, as I said before, will take to her, and it'd be nice to go down there and go and support her as well on the occasions that we can go. We can all go and jump in my car and burn me diesel, and. We'll go down and watch her and give her the support that she deserves. But let's get it right. We're United first, boys. Yeah, Leicester. No, well, you two are Leicester second, maybe. But but I was waiting for one of you to have Sigsworth shirt for next season.
Well, John's going to buy one.
Excuse to watch Leicester. John will probably buy it. John will be joining you two. You could be the three amigos, the three musketeers. Leicester.
Hey, the we anyway was the Jess Sigsworth fan club, pal.
I'll let you off. Then I'll let you off.
Just to be clear, but no, I think like you said, obviously, great move for Jess if that's where she does end up. There is a lot of, like I say, sort of rumours on that, and it will be interesting. Just quickly before we wrap it up, then the season. Obviously, we got a date, didn't we? A firm date off the FA for starting. Ben, who you fancying first, or who do you think we'll end up with? We'll just add it in for a bit of fun.
I said yesterday, I was a bit serious yesterday when I said I don't care who we get first. We play every team twice. Well, it's true though, isn't it? You know what I mean? Don't matter if we get Chelsea and City, Arsenal. I don't care. But you know what I mean? But wouldn't it be lovely to have all the fans back at LSV. We can all go back to football stadium. If Jess does go to Leicester City, we get Leicester City at LSV. But as I said, though, you can't rule out the blockbuster. I don't know if you watched the show yesterday, that Sky might have them at the men's ground for the blockbuster opening weekend. There's no men's football games on that week. It's international weekend for the men. So they're gonna have at least one or two of them playing at the main stadium. I reckon that'll be a Sky Sports thing, just to get it all kicked off, because they like to make blockbusters, don't they? But we shall see, mate. I'm not bothered though, because we play each other twice, and we've got to be the best. You've got to beat the best, no matter when you play them. So, but for romantic's sake, should we just say Leicester City first game of the season? So you two Leicester boys can go and sit in their end and. I'll chat for Manchester United, and I'll still give Jess Sigsworth the love that she deserves.
No words, so, Gareth. Don't throw Leicester at me. Throw another team before we get mullered even more.
What would I like? So a couple of places I've never been. Obviously, a home game would be great, but let's say we were away first game of the season. Everton away would be a nice one. It's just down the road from me, so don't have to drive really. I can enjoy the day. Or somewhere I've never been is the Academy Stadium. So Man City away would be a nice, feisty start to the season. What do I think we're going to get? Genuinely, because I feel like the stars have aligned, genuinely think we might get Leicester first game of the season, just because I feel like the universe wants me and you to get stick.
Oh yeah, by the way, Gareth, it's not called the Academy Stadium, it's the Mini Council House, lad.
Still getting stick even now, but I think...
no, he said he doesn't have to get if we get Everton away, he'll probably get a lift from Willie Kirkham.
Willie Kirk does not live in South Liverpool. He'll be in Cheshire. He won't be around here.
Yeah, he'll come calling to your house first, though.
I mean, feel free. Bring me a shirt or some boots. Happy days.
I think it's interesting because, like you were saying, Ben, he talked to me yesterday's show about the men's ground, and I'm hearing a lot about Arsenal potentially doing a lot of the Emirates. So for some reason, I've just got a feeling that, that could be a potential. I'd be happy with that. Never been to the Emirates. Get us in there, Arsenal away, chuck them a bit of friendly banter, get the 3 points and bugger off home. But I think, like Gareth said, they're going to fix it, aren't they? It's going to be Leicester City on Sky. It will be, probably because of Jess, probably because of the FA Cup, and probably because it's the sort of the first season in the WSL and they're going to hype it. So I think either one of them two, I think either Arsenal at the Emirates or probably Leicester, either home or away. Thank you for you both for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And obviously the more departures that are announced, we will do tribute shows as well. So obviously this isn't the first one. Whoever's next will get their own, whole dedicated show as well.
This is the first one.
Thursday. John Foster.
You mean this isn't the last one?
John Foster is back with guests as well. 7 p.m. as well. We're 7 p.m. all week. Friday, John again is back with Fans Forum. And Saturday, me and Ben, if I've not had enough of him by Saturday, we'll be doing our Saturday Night Live. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. Keep an eye on the socials for any updates, and we will see you Thursday. Cheers, boys.
See you later.